This is really frustrating. Okay. Let's say you are a controller player. What you do is you throw smokes to control for the team. Now, one fundamental thing that you can do to fuck up your team and be a detriment is cutting off space and info starving yourselves. What being info starved is where are they on the map? You never want to have this happen. You have info characters for a reason. You have Sova, you have KO, you have Sky, a bunch of bullshit. And so, if, like, for an example, one round, the Omen smoked top here. When we had a Sova, who was holding it right here. He was holding short, he got smoked off. Now he's info starved. At short, where he doesn't know if there's people behind it, they could walk up and pop. God bless if they fucking walk up and split on him. It's actually impossible to hold. Now, one thing that you can do is you haven't lost this control yet. So you will smoke where you haven't lost the control. They could be bottom short. They cannot be here. So why would you ever smoke here if they can't be there? You're literally cutting off info from yourselves and making it harder for yourself to hold. Like this, dude, running out of the smoke right here, impossible. Actually impossible. You need like a fucking Christmas miracle for that to happen. Okay? And so that's like a concept that you can use a lot with a controller player, any fucking controller player. But if you're smoking off your team, you are not being useful. I made sure that Kaide learned, because she was playing controller. She does her shit really well. She knows when to do proper smokes. Same thing like bind. You go out B on attack, right? Okay. Let's just say we fucking exec on the site. We killed 3 people on site. I'm just gonna put some random people here. Where is it? Okay. I'm just gonna put some random people here. But, okay. We literally just like demolished 3 people here. Now, when we're throwing a spawn smoke, instead of smoking like this, which cuts off info of people can't be elbow right now. They literally can't be an elbow. So don't smoke like this, smoke like this. Now we can wrap elbow, and now people can play in the most fucking AIDS positions ever. Imagine coming out of this smoke and you're exposed to hookah, this, everything. You're literally exposed to everything. So why would you ever smoke off control where you haven't, like, they don't have it? That's why I don't play controller. No, a lot of people play controller and there's a fucking autopilot. I'd rather someone, if honestly, okay, a controller is a mandatory role. It actually is a mandatory role. But ultimately, I actually made a tweet like this. If you can't play your role right, or play, like, if you're going to fill wrong, don't even fucking fill. Just play what you're used to, because you're going to be a nuisance to the team. You're actually going to be a detriment, and you're going to make life harder. There's certain players that play the game, and they make people around them play bad. They are horrible players. And it's just because they're autopilot. They just do shit. They do shit to do shit. They don't think. There's no, like, thought behind anything. Okay, next up. Let's say you're playing a Cypher. Oh, yeah, I can trip anywhere. You, as a Cypher, you have so much fucking information. If you are not using your trips every round to trip spots for your team, and you could play like a cam up here, watching both garage and the long push while having cages for yourself or some bullshit. I'm not a Cypher player, but it's just a fundamental understanding. Okay, you can place your trips anywhere on the map, and they will never go down unless you're KO knife. Unlike a Killjoy where you have to kind of stay near your util. So one thing that's really good with Cypher is spreading out your util, so it's more awkward for them. You'll know if they're in garage. You'll know if they went towards B. And you actually have information for yourself. Look at Cypher is playing here with all this shit, and he controls literally like half the map already. Or at least he gets some sort of info towards half of the map. I'm not going to say control, because obviously they can go B or go garage like fast, but like at least you like know off of the info. Now what I do see people doing is when they play Cypher or they play some other character, is they'll be like, kill trips. Now situationally it can be okay, but if you're doing this every round, you are playing the character wrong. You're being a nuisance. What's the point? You're literally just playing kill trips, and now they know exactly what to expect. And we have a Cypher on the team, but now we have so many fucking gaps where we don't like, we have to have a person either manning it and getting info constantly or some sort of other ability. So it's literally just like, it's so counterintuitive. Like the reason why you want to play a Sentinel is to make your life easier. A Sentinel will make your life easier on defense. Why? Because you have spread out utility holding a shit ton of space. My Valorant plant just like crashed. Give me 1 second. Okay. Next up. What other? Initiator. Initiator probably should be one of the most talkative players on the team. You should always be suggesting ideas. You should always be like getting information or setting people up. This is literally your whole role, is to flash for other people. Occasionally, I'd say KO is kind of like a pseudo duelist where he functions as like a Phoenix, but also at the same time as like a normal flash initiator, like a breach or a Sky. So I personally like playing him a lot. Now, if you're just throwing flashes to flash without like telling your teammates where they're going, when they're gonna pop, like if you listen to me play KO, I try to make a really, really, really easy time for people to understand where my flash is landing and when it's gonna pop. I will put this into perspective, right? This is an average Valorant player's screen. This is their monitor right here. And right here, there's so much bullshit going on, and then there's like a fucking team flash coming in. And okay, this is like I'm talking about two things at the same time. You can do this for communication and or like your utility. If you're just throwing your utility, you are cluttering your teammate's screen, and they are not like able to fucking, they can't read your mind. They can't predict what you're going to do. It's like, okay, I'm going to draw two paintings here. Now let's say I am playing a KO. I'm like, okay, I'm going to flash for you. I am going to, it's going to pop in front of you. Look away. I say 1, 2, 3, flash, pop. Look at this. This is the fucking Mona Lisa right here. And then me just like throwing a flash, and I'm just like calming bullshit. Like one thing with, so this is like a two-part one, so I said once again, you can do the same thing for your initiator util. If you are telling people what to do, or people are, I mean, duelists also can ask for the util, and it's really good. But oh, you can't fucking see. Sorry. I didn't even notice. Yeah, Bob Ross would be proud, I know. So you can do the same thing with comms. If you are just like cluttering up the comms and making life hard, the painting looks like this. It doesn't look like this. You can't register what's going on. This is art class, kinda. Now, what else? I said initiator. I mean, same thing functions like for Sova. Okay, Sova. I'm playing Sova on this map. They somehow have, let's see. Let me see. Okay, we're playing Sova on defense. We throw this recon bolt, and then they break it. But then we don't hear anything on the map. And I don't know, it's been like 20 seconds now. You have to like use a piece of util to, god damn it. Someone's gonna draw a penis, I can tell. You have to use like a piece of util to get info, because if you don't have info anywhere else, like let's say based off of them going A, your teammate's like, oh, I actually can push down C and get into this cubby. It's like, okay, we have a little bit of info. Now we can stack towards A side and gamble towards A side because someone is in an aggro position. They're like sitting right here or some shit, and they can kind of hear like people running, and they're also like in a one and done kind of, but it's really hard to clear, but they're gonna get early info. Sometimes people will do like a bait setup too, like with an op or some shit in this cubby. It's pretty good. And then you over rotate. I need to real quick hide this one again. Give me 1 second. I was actually waiting for someone to draw a penis. Normally when we do like Valorant and shit in prac time, it's just a bunch of penises. This is gonna be on YouTube. No, I'm actually gonna do like actual tutorial stuff on YouTube. This is just concepts that I'm explaining right now, and I'm trying to explain them in a very simple, fundamental understanding that people can understand. Okay. I got really frustrated. Okay, this is another thing with Sentinel. I said you're making your life easier. We had a Sage on splits. Now, what is really not fun to run through? A Sage slow. Now, you would slow mid based off of what they're doing. You look at what they're doing, you hear patterns. If you know that they're skydogging mid and running up behind it, throw a fucking slow and then break the dog. And then now, okay, I'll explain this concept too. Okay, this is called a stage 1 right here. Stage 1 is the initial spot that you are going to be standing in. It is very, very generic. This is on a default, by the way. So this is a stage 1 right here where you're playing the stage 1 spots. Now, what you can do is you can make life hard for them. You can make it really uncomfortable. You can break their shits. You can stall them. On split, mid control is basically everything. It's almost everything. So, like, I would say here and here are the two most important spots on split. So you're trying to be really annoying. When you feel like you have done your job and you have stalled them long enough, guess what? You go from stage 1 into stage 2, where now you're stalling this part and you're in a safe spot. A lot of the time when I played Sage is, what is it? When there was like 50 seconds left on the clock or something, you can literally, where is it? Where is Sage? You can literally throw down a wall like this. I personally like this one the best. I think Fnatic was throwing this one. I don't remember who exactly. So like some people just like instant wall mid and they're like, I did my job as Sage, but it just instant breaks and it's just like, what the fuck is the point? You just spent $400 for a piece of util to get instantly broken and now it doesn't even provide anything for your team. If you throw this one a little bit better, but it's a little bit easier to like break where people can spam right here. Some people like playing on top though. I don't really like doing that as Sage. Now a really uncomfortable shit to do is wall like this. Why? Because you have to walk up like this to break the wall, and walking up in like a choke like this, and Sage has one more slow. If you especially have a Raze on your team, you fucking combo the Raze nade and the slow. I mean, Sage could be standing on top of the wall right here if she wanted to. But you combo this and it's just really, it's not fun to play against. It is not fun at all. And it's probably one of the more optimal ways. Another thing you can do is when you're playing Sage, wow, they're going fast A right now. There's a bunch of dudes running A. I'm playing Sage mid. I'm just going to throw a wall right here and I'm going to fast rotate. What this wall does is it stops people from lurking up mid and getting behind your teammates. Now you can over rotate towards A if you want. Like, let's say we started fucking 1 mid and 3 A, but they're starting to rush A. Guess what? Now we have 4 on A. It's even stronger. And plus, we have a fucking wall holding our flank. Now our teammate can't be flanked. You can probably hear if a jet updrafts it. I mean, before it was kind of bad because you could jump over the box, but now you can't. But there's just certain stuff where Sentinels make your life easier on defense. Initiators, you set up your teammates or you make game plans. I haven't talked about Duelists yet. Controller, I mean, controller is self-explanatory. You smoke off stuff, but just don't smoke off your teammates because you'll make their life hard. And that is not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to limit the amount of angles that they can get peeked from, not completely fuck them over and make them out of position because of some shitty ass smoke. Okay. Now, another thing I think is really shit that people do is people play Duelist characters. And I'm just going to put all the Duelist characters on the map right now. Okay. We have Jet, Neon, Phoenix, Raze, Reyna. What else am I missing? Am I missing anything else? Yoru to a degree. I think Yoru is more of a lurk duelist, so I'm going to exclude him slightly because he's kind of weird. But what is one thing that all of these characters have in common? And it's the fact that they have abilities that help them get kills, help them create space. And so let's say I'm playing a Jet and I have another example. I had a Reyna. When I'm playing Reyna, personally, I get really confident because I can throw a flash, and the flash acts as like a mini drone, where if someone doesn't break it, then they will get full blinds. But also, what the fuck? It crashed again. Also, if you peek someone and you kill them, you get a free kill and you can dismiss. You could literally peek into 4 people with Reyna and get out for free if you wanted to. And that's just the fundamentals of a character. Another character like that, Jet, exact same shit. Chamber, before he was nerfed, he was kind of like a pseudo duelist, sentinel, everything. I don't know. But you should be confident in peeking people because your kit is literally designed to fucking kill people or create space. And man, this is so frustrating how it's like freezing. Okay, now I'm talking like, let's say a neon. A neon, for example. What can your character do as a neon? You can throw stuns to help you get space where your teammates can run behind you. You can fucking slide past angles. Like, you're basically playing Apex Legends. When you're execing the site, you should be like walling in, fucking stunning the right, sliding out the right, wall, like stunning the left, running along this wall and going around, and a bunch of shit like that. You should be creating space for your team. Raze can do it too, where Raze can like throw a nade. I don't really know where Raze would nade right here, but like on B, Raze would sometimes like nade bind here or nade spawn for the run out and just like satchel out or some shit. Like, you should be creating space. You should be looking for opportunities to get killed or get kills. And if you're simply like a passive player, you probably don't belong on the duelist role other than if you're a Yoru. And it's just these characters let you set yourself up, and by setting up yourself, you make the lives of your teammates easier when you're actually creating space. I can like make a bunch of other examples for other games. Like, let's say you're playing Overwatch and you're playing a DPS character, but your tank is standing behind you. How the fuck are you supposed to kill anybody when you have no space being created for you? You're playing League of Legends. You're playing ADC. Your tank is just fucking behind you again. Oh, guess what? You can't do anything because they just jump you. And it just feels really shit. This is 3 years into the game. I know. And the thing that pisses me the fuck off is people don't understand I think this is simple. Okay, I think the stage 1, stage 2 stuff, I think it's simple, but maybe it's a hard concept and I don't know. And obviously there's like some biasy behind what I'm talking about because I'm a pro player. I've been a fucking pro player since the beginning. And I also played CS before where a lot of these concepts applied. It's really frustrating. It is really frustrating. Yeah. Like, people think KD and headshot percentage matter, but they really don't. Especially if you're playing roles like Duelists, like, you're going to have on and off games. Like, sometimes you're going to be running in, killing 3 people. But one thing that you can always keep consistent is to make the lives of your teammates easier by creating space. Like, when I'm playing Jet and I'm feeling it, I'll run in. I'll maybe get like 1 or 2. But then you know what that allows me, like our teammates, to do? They just scale up behind me and it's a lot easier. Sometimes you might not be having a great game, but you could just be dashing into your smoke, being fucking annoying, like double smoke on yourself. And now you're like basically this presence that's in everyone's screens and they have to like think about you subconsciously. And they can't just like tunnel all on your team. Like, you've created space at this point. What's your favorite Duelist and Fracture? I think the best ones are these 3. I think on Fracture. I think, like, okay, going on tandem. Okay, look at this synergy, right? When I said that initiators are there to set up your teammates, this is what Optic used to do. They used to run KO and Breach as like a core 3. Now, first off, the control you get with this team is fucking absurd. you can stun, double stun, you can flash, you can throw like this flash and slide, you can throw this flash and slide, or you can just, I don't like, there's so much you can do with this comp that was like really, really good. I drew an accidental penis. I did not mean to do that. But this comp was really good because all these characters synergize really, really well off each other. But also, when you're on the sites, right? Neon throws the wall. Neon creates space. But the initiators are there to set up the Neon. Neon says, okay, I want to run out the left of the wall or some shit. KO's like, okay, I'm going to run with you. I'm going to right click and we peek out together or some shit. There we go. They have successfully set up each other. The Neon has made space and the KO has come up and helped both of them just flourish as players. Or, oh, I want to go out the right side. Breach. Okay, I'm going to flash through the wall. The one thing that was strong about this like this comp right here, this core 3, was the fact that if this wall was thrown, there was no safety net for when the flash would come out or where it could come from. It can come through a wall, it can come through the wall. Okay, sorry. It can come through the neon fire or it can come through a wall. Like, the possibilities are endless with like this core 3. And that's why like you'd see like Victor just fucking popping off because he's creating space for his team, but his team's also setting him up and he's just owning with it. Oh, it's funny how top 1% players in Radiant don't know this stuff. I know. It's so frustrating. Like, people will be playing certain characters and they'll just be lurking. And it's just like, okay, if you have a double duelist comp, maybe one of the duelists can lurk. But most of the time, it's pretty good to have them both there with each other and just like being annoying, creating space for each other and just like getting kills together. Like, a really popular comp right now on splits is Ray's Jet. And if you just watch how those two characters can both take the load of creating space, like a lot of the time, both the Jet and the Race player are both frag out, like a lot of the time. Now, obviously, if you're in a lower rank, I obviously don't expect you to understand a lot of the stuff. But if you're somewhere in the Radiant to Immortal rank and you don't even know like proper smokes or anything like that, like I don't even play as smokes. I've never played smokes in my life other than Viper and a pro team. But I understand how, because I'm thinking by my perspective, when I'm playing the game, what smokes would I want my controllers to throw to make my life easier? And you can use that concept for anything. When I'm playing KO, I'm always thinking, oh, I would love to, like, if I was a duelist in this position, I would love to just get flashed here. I would offer the idea because I've been in that position, or I put myself into the other person's shoes where I'm like, oh, I could set them up. It should be known by Diamond Plus. No, I feel like it should, right? Understanding of timings. Okay. Oh wait, this is one thing that can actually help a lot of people, and you can do this at any rank. But normally, I'm gonna go into paint again. Like how I said about the canvases, you don't want to have a canvas that's fucking cluttered. You want to have like the Mona Lisa. Like, you want a perfect painting. So one thing that can add to that is, instead of saying one was here, two-way main, like obviously that's good information, but you know what's really, really good? Calling out agent names. Calling out agent names, you're able to basically wall hack. Like, you can literally, I'll go on Valorant again. It's probably going to crash on me again. But calling out agent names, you're able to find out by process of elimination where their weak side is, where their lurker is, like a bunch of stuff like that. So let's say Okay, let's say I'm on fracture again, I guess. Now the KO knifed here, the breach stunned like this, and you heard a fucking raise nade for some reason. Like I'm obviously doing like an over exaggeration. Like you shouldn't throw all this util in the same spot, but let's say this all happened, right? Now you know if you just said, oh, there's 3A, you don't know who the fuck is A. Especially the people at B, their canvas is like empty right now. Their canvas is like covered. They don't really know what's going on. But if you say, oh, KO, raise, breach towards A. Now you know where the other two remaining players, they're not towards this pack at the moment, or they can be, but they're hidden. But potential lurks here, here, here. Okay? Now let's say we know there's 5 there. Guess what space is free? If you saw all 5, everything's free. Everything's free. If you saw 4, and let's say you're playing triple B. Let's say you're playing triple... I'm just throwing random agents. Let's say you're playing triple B, okay? We saw 4 towards A. Wow, if there's 4 towards A side, we could push this side with 3, and if there's a lurker, then we'll basically trade them out. And we'll have all this control, all this space, and we'll be up numbers advantage. I mean, that's perfect world, ideal situation. But based off of this, you can do stuff as a team. A lot of people just like rotate, and honestly, this is something that's a little bit harder to do in Valorant, which is like calling people and setting people up. Like Fracture is a very team fight oriented map. This map is not even a fucking tactical shooter map. This map is literally Overwatch. You group up, you just fight shit. On defense, you'll notice it's really good if you just set up fights every round. I'm not joking. Do it in your own games. One really popular fight is people do the breach stun like this with the raise, flying over like this, and what else? You could have a flying over like this, and what else? You could have a KO flash over here. You could have your smokes character and your sentinel like peeking this if you want. Like you crunch this side, you get the control. If there's people on this side, you will literally shit on them. You will literally shit on them. I shit you not. If you set up plays like this on Fracture, especially, like Fracture is a very like team fight oriented map. If you play static on Fracture, there's just too much to hold at the same time. Like when we were playing a Fracture game earlier, they were just basically walking every round, but we weren't controlling anything. So, like how I said with, okay, getting info starved. Info starved, I have no info. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know what they're doing. That should never happen in a game. As soon as that's happening in a game, you are getting outplayed. Most likely, unless you get really lucky. Now, Fracture has 4 control points, and other maps have other control points as well. But you should be at least controlling one thing, right? Hopefully you're controlling one thing. Like, you could put a jet on a line right here. Now, okay, jet's on a line. We can play a weaker side towards A at the start. If they end up doing a dish pop, you don't even have to go back in sight and fight them. Just keep the space. If you keep the space, it's so good. You can say you have another teammate here too. But you keep the space, and now it just feels awkward for them. They took the site, and the spots that they don't have this, they don't have this, and they don't have this. Where can they play? It's like very, very uncomfortable. This is like where the, what is it called? Like as an attacker, just think about what's really annoying. Stop ignoring Yoru, bro. Yoru's an exception. I love Yoru. I think Yoru's my favorite character in the game right now. But I don't think he functions the same as regular Duelist at the moment. I think he's like, he can lurk because the thing that's really strong about him is, similar to Old Chamber. How people used to play Old Chamber was they would set up the chamber, and the chamber would basically play on an island and get out every single time. It's kind of like that. You like deposit your chamber, and your chamber can just peek whatever and just get out. Let me see what maps were really popular with this. What is it? Wait, what map am I missing? Let's say Bind, for instance. On Bind Attack, like a lot of people, they would send their shit up B. Like let's say Let's say you just throw a Harbor Cove with this, with like a Skydog. Skydog coming up here, and then the chamber gets set up. Before, the chamber would have like 2 pylons right here, where he could basically get out no matter what. If they try to regain the space, but with util, you break the util. Now they don't know. They don't know if how many people are there. They just saw the chamber, and that's it. Or they tried to walk clear it, and you just kill them. Or there's too much util, and you know there's like 3 or 4 B that are fighting you. You just fucking TP away. And so the same thing with Yoru. You can kind of deposit Yoru in a similar fashion where Yoru can be on an extremity of a map, but he can instantly like regroup back to the pack. Oh yeah, Breeze Chamber was really good pre-nerf. I agree with that actually. Breeze Chamber was really good pre-nerf. Ah. Icebox had very I didn't like Icebox. Icebox was not fun. Icebox was actually just like an aim map, I feel. But a lot of teams that like just played together, kind of like Fracture in a way, like in a team fight oriented fashion. Like, you know, a team that's really good at Fracture. Let me see. Did they play it today? I don't even know if they played it today. Let me check. No. Okay, a team that's really good is M80 at Fracture. They're really, really good on Fracture. Why? Because they play so well together and they understand that the map is just constant fighting. So they're like always there and always ready to fight. Like, they're not scared. Dude, everyone bans their Fracture. When's the last time they played Fracture? Here, I'll find it somewhere. Let me see if I can like pull up a round from them, for example. On this map in particular. Stats. I mean, he's a really good team. Okay, they actually lost against TSM for one map, but that's unfortunate. We actually lost against TSM on Fracture 2. Let's see. I will try to pull up just kind of like some rounds for them. I'm going to scan through it real quick. I will scan through it.
Kind of contingency or not contingency.
Where? Okay. 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 M80 is already doing it on a pistol round. But look at, they said, fuck A main, fuck B. We're killing this lurker right here. There's 3 people arcade side, and there's 2 people pushing dish. And a lot of time, like, if, like, you can kill the lurk, or if you catch the pack, you can just, it's basically a brawl at that point. But you have your utils like sending in, and like M80 is really good at grouping up and like deathballing and playing really well with each other. Let me just try to find, did they lose the round? Okay, another thing, on anti-eco rounds, you will never win the round playing standard. If everyone is spreading out on a default, you will never win the round. I mean, miracles do happen. I've seen it before, but for the most part, you shouldn't win the round. Look at what they're doing. They're just stacking all towards this side. They already see that they're down an advantage because they lost pistol round. They don't have that great guns. They don't have that great utility, so they're just all gonna fucking deathball and be annoying. Let's see what else. Did they do it on a gun round? Let's see what the rotates are. Okay. You see these 2 players right here? They have so much control right here at A main. You know what that means? The breach can freely rotate towards B because you know that they're not in A main. They could be outside A main, but they're not in A main. If they try to fight it, your teammates will probably just frag out. So the breach comes over back to B, and now they're playing heavy side B and weak side A, but like the A guys are pushed up here. If they went dish here, like I said before, what would you do? Would you go back and fight and potentially get split? Or would you just keep holding A main, push through A main, and keep the space, and make it really uncomfortable for the attackers to actually win the round?
a success.
They got him.
Nope.
John's gone. Nismo's gone. EU!
Oh, yeah. I want to see another team fight map. Oh, another thing. All alts can act as like a second economy, by the way. So if you see the alts, like let's say they have 5 alts on the board and you have 0 alts, you will probably just lose the round because alts are so game changing in this game. So one thing that you have to do, kind of treat it like how you treat an eco round, or do like an aggressive play with your team to push something, because if you can kill those people before they get their ults off, they become like useless for the round. If they have 5 ults, like in theory they should just shit on you. And especially if you just give them everything in the world. If you play normal and you're playing 3-2 or some shit and they go and ult the 2 guys like with 2 ults, they can't do anything. It's just impossible. Now if you just 4 push something, hope you get a kill on one of the ults, get the space, hopefully they use their ults to get the space while you're not there, and then you just retake like that, it's a lot better. So you kind of treat ults as like a second economy in a way. I'm not sure. Sometimes like in Fracture, sometimes I think just having ults and like stingers is better than having rifles and no ults.
I have to focus up once again to that same
How do you use alt Neon? It's bad. You don't use it. The only purpose of Neon's ult is to reset the sprint, and nothing else can change my mind. It is so bad. Can you elaborate the second economy? Well, okay. Like the alt raise. God, let me look up some random comp right now. Brim. What else am I missing? I'm missing a second initiator? Yeah, people play second initiator on this map. I mean, some people play double duelist on the map. I'll say double duelist, okay? You're playing double duelist, okay? Now I'll do killjoy, okay? So now, if we're talking about attack, who has ult priority here, okay? Whose ult do you think is the most game-changing on the attack side? Like when you I'm gonna rank them from like top here to like bottom, right? Okay, if you think about it, breach ult, really fucking good. You can use it reactionary, you can use it to take a site, you can use it to fight something heavy. Breach ult, pretty fucking good. Raise ult, if on attack, you can get up to close angles, you could pop, pretty good. Jet knives, you probably don't want to farm them because they're, what is it called? I mean, jet knives are jet knives, right? Like sometimes it's hot and cold. I would still think that like a raise ult would be better for attack side just because you just make so much space and you get a free rocket kill almost every time. Now between Brim and Killjoy, personally, I mean, this is kind of like a toss-up. I would say like these two are even, but I would say like ult priority should go like this for these characters. On defense, we'll do the same thing. Same comp, I guess. Oh, not Jet. There's a Jet. Who the fuck? Oh, I hit 2 killjoys, that's why. Okay. Now, think about defense. Okay. First off, if you have a killjoy ult, do you know what that means? You can play retake. You can literally play retake and put the killjoy towards the weak side. The killjoy will get like all the info in the world. I'm just doing like some random setup right now. The killjoy will get all the info in the world. You can literally play 4 towards the A side with killjoy on B, and when the killjoy thinks that they're gonna like take site or plant, just plop, So this one's pretty good. It's actually a lot better than I would say attack. Like I don't think you should be constantly going for it on attack. Lower rank it'd probably be insane. But higher rank, like probably not so much because I think breach ult, raise ult, stuff like that's better. So I would rank Killjoy's ult pretty high. Same thing with attack though. I think breach's ult is just fucking too good. Like if they're executing a site, so let's say they're splitting on you. You could literally breach ult one side and fight these poor bastards that are just stunned flying through the air. And so you can use it reactionary. You can do it for an instant push. I don't know, you have some, you're cooking up in the lab or some shit and you just want to do like a push or something. You can do that. So breach ult I would also say is pretty good. Raise ult, I would tie these three. I would tie these three and put jet knives on the bottom. Probably just who's closer to ult, right? Like if the Killjoy is 2 to 7, or well, how many ult points? The Killjoy is 5 points off from getting the ult. Raze is 2 points from getting the ult. Who are you gonna give the ult point to? Just give it to the Raze because she's closer to ult, and you'll have a game-changing ability sooner. Stop leaking sense shroud. This is literally not. It's just common basic Valorant. That's all it is. It's just ult economy. That's all it is. Now, okay, I think